Hey, everybody, I'm Dr. Seth, psychologist, and today I'm doing couch commentary. And when I do couch commentary, I basically just talk about something that's going on in the culture from a psychological perspective. So today, what I'm talking about is a recent Gallup poll, which shows that about 1 in 4 men under the age of 35 report being lonely. Loneliness, that is quite a high percentage of individuals, guys, under the age of 35. Now, you may wonder to yourself, why is that? There are, of course, a lot of theories, and I know that anyone watching or listening would already know this, that probably one of the biggest possible reasons has to do with screen devices, maybe video games. So people are on their phones or playing video games so much so that really it's kind of like a solo experience. Even if an individual, of course, is playing video games, it may appear that they're doing something with someone, but it kind of gives the false illusion of closeness. Not to say that people who game together can't be friends or can't have depth in their friendships, they certainly can, but because the focus involves a screen, it's really a different kind of relationship, and it's something to think about. Is too much screen time causing some sense of loneliness? I think that it is a major factor. Another study that's really interesting that was quoted in the Los Angeles Times talks about this statistic, which is really phenomenal. Since 1990, the rate of men who report having not a single close friend has quintupled. So since 1990, that has increased 5 times since 1990. That is really significant. Think about the number of men that means. Think about any men in your family. If you're watching this, is this you? Do you feel like you are a man under the age of 35 who is really struggling with loneliness? Really feeling like there's not somebody that you feel connected to, really feeling like you are missing that sense of bonding and friendship in your life. Well, I also want to share that another factor that I think is important has to do with where men invest their emotional energy. And I can share, having done a lot of research in the past on divorce and how men and women cope differently with divorce. A lot of times, women historically have coped better with divorce. Why? Because they tend to have better social support. So, what happens in divorce is many men who divorce reported prior to the divorce, during their marriage, the number one closest friend they had, the person closest to them, was their wife. Where for a lot of those wives, guess what? A lot of times they reported the closest person to them was not their husband, was a friend, maybe a sister, a family member. So I would really pose this: are men under the age of 35 really properly investing in social bonds with friends, really properly investing in closeness, emotional closeness? Is there sharing about how they're doing? If, for example, a man under the age of 35 is feeling lonely, is there a friend that he says that to, that he tells, that he confides in that way? It's really important to talk openly, to confide, because otherwise, if we keep some feelings private and don't share them, it can function as a secret. And research on secrets shows that keeping secrets is associated with really negative health effects. Finally, the last point that I want to share on this has to do with what can we do with this information. If you have somebody in your life, if there's a man under 35 in your life, ask him. Try to talk to him about this. You can, mention this to him, mention the study. Say, listen, I heard there's this study that says that 1 in 4 men are reporting feeling lonely, guys who are under the age of 35. Now, rather than ask in a way that makes somebody feel put on the spot, do you feel that way? Is that something that you can relate to? You can pose it this way. Do you have any buddies, any friends who are in that age range and you think maybe that applies to them? You can also ask them, why do you think that might be? But start that discussion. And you know what? Maybe just opening up this discussion could possibly, for some of those men, if they are included in those 1 of 4, might provide the opening for them to confide in you a little something that matters. All right. I'm Dr. Seth, psychologist, with Couch Commentary for today.